Shot or infusion? Which one? Hey guys, this is Dee. Welcome back to my channel. I am a nurse who's worked in rheumatology. I am a rheumatology patient and I make weekly videos on Thursdays at noon about rheumatology type stuff. So if that sounds like something that you are interested in, make sure you subscribe and hit the little bell so you don't miss any of my videos. Today I wanted to talk about infusions versus the shots as far as the biologic meds go. So when it comes to your meds like Humira, Stelara, things like that, that is usually given through a shot where you either give yourself the dose through a pen like this or you give it through a pre-filled syringe. There are some medications that are given via infusion only, so that it goes into your vein. So that would be like Remicade, Rituxan, things like that. And then there's some medications that you can choose either or. There is a injectable version, like it comes in a pen or pre-filled syringe, and then there's also an infusion version. So that would be your Orencias, your Symphonies. So this is a decision you would have to make when your doctor is talking to you about either A, switching to infusions, B, trying a different self-injection med like this, or C, if they're thinking about putting you on a medication that comes in either form, so you need to choose which one you would stick with better. The rheumatologist is going to have their recommendation on what they would prefer to do just for a treating standpoint, but you're the one that has to make the choice, because the medication means nothing if you can't get it, or if you know that you're not going to be able to stick to it. I wanted to give the pros and cons of both to give you a clear picture of what is going to be right for you if you end up having to choose between one of these. Let's start out with the self-injectable. The pros to those are you can give it at home. If you are not great with giving them at home, or you don't have somebody at home who can give it, some offices will let you come in and have a nurse give it to you instead. That is going to cost more because you're paying for the appointment itself as well as the skill of the nurse giving you the medication. But in general, it's still going to be cheaper than if you went and did an infusion. How that would work would just be you would go and get a prior authorization approval from your insurance, and then you would go through a specialty pharmacy, because the regular retails like CVS, Walgreens, Giant Eagle, those don't have these specialty meds, and they have to be refrigerated. So you will have to get the medication delivered to your house by a specialty pharmacy, whichever one that your insurance works with, and then you set up delivery after getting enrolled and set up in their system, and they go and just deliver the med to you. Then at that point, you either give it yourself at home or you go and make an appointment to have a nurse give it to you in the office setting, if that's an option. So a lot cheaper, a lot faster. In a lot of cases, these medications are easier to get approved by insurance because they are cheaper. From the insurance standpoint, they cost a lot less. From your standpoint, it costs a lot less. And there's still a lot of evidence going around that shows that, hey, you know, Humira does help rheumatoid arthritis, or ankylosing spondylitis, or psoriatic arthritis. You know, pick your condition. And that's why sometimes you'll have some insurance approvals be approved within literally a day. If it's in their preferred list, like Humira typically is for a lot of places, and if you can show that, hey, you tried, you know, other medications like methotrexate, for example, it's literally an automatic process. A doctor doesn't even have to look in it. Their system is set to automatically approve it. So those are the pros with those medications. The cons are you have to give it yourself. And for some people, that is a big con because it's needle involved. If you have needle anxiety and you have to give it yourself, or you can't find someone else to give it, you know, That can pose a problem for some people. Because you have to deal with a specialty pharmacy with these medications, you have to stay up to date with refills and make sure that that refill is sent to the specialty pharmacy. Sometimes the script will get accidentally sent to the retail one because that's like consider your primary one on the computer. And on top of that, you have to keep up with your prior authorizations to some degree, because if you don't, and you try and call for delivery, your pharmacy is going to be like, we need a prior authorization or you're going to have to pay like thousands of dollars. That wraps up the cons for the self-injectables. The infusions. Let's start with the pros. One of the biggest pros to me with infusions, you do not have to deal with refills. You don't have to deal with specialty pharmacies. You get the insurance approval and then you schedule a time to go into the infusion center wherever you go, or have a nurse do the infusion at home if you have that program available to you. You don't have to do it yourself and you're on your way. Another big pro with the infusions too is that you don't have to give them as often. So with the majority of the self-injectables like Humira, Enbrel, and the like, most of those you're giving either every other week or every week. Stelara is the only exception. That one, for whatever reason, is every 12 weeks. With infusion, the first 3 doses will have an odd schedule. So maybe one will be the first time, then you might come in 2 weeks later, then you might come in 4 weeks later. But after the loading dose of those first 3 doses, the rest of the time you're usually coming in once a month or once every 2 months. I've seen somewhere cases where they only have to go in for an infusion once every 3 months. So it's way less frequent, less sticks. And then again, you're not giving that stick, the nurse is doing it. One of the cons, way more expensive. With the injectables, like Humira, you're just paying for the pens. So I'm just paying for 2 pens a month. When you go and get an infusion, you are paying for the medication, which is even more thousands of dollars than the Humira, which is thousands of dollars by itself. Then you're paying for the appointment because you have to go into a doctor's office or an infusion center. So you're paying for the appointment. Then you're paying for the nursing skill and expertise to go and start an IV and give you the med. Then you're paying for any other meds that you're getting with it. The second one is that you have to deal with appointment scheduling. Infusions do take 30 minutes to upwards of 8 hours depending on the med. I know as a patient, because I've been on infusions myself, they typically are only open Monday through Friday, normal business hours. So if you work a 9-to-5 job on top of all this, you don't have that many options. And if the few that you got are taken, you got to go and work around your schedule. Because these medications are more expensive and because they go in the vein, like, they're more potent, it is harder to get these medications approved by insurance without you trying other medications first. So when it comes to preferred medications, very common one for rheumatoid arthritis, for example, first they want you to try methotrexate. If there's a reason why you can't or it did not work, then they want you to try usually Humira or Enbrel. Then after that, they'll start approving other stuff. Now, every insurance company is different, but it is very common for a lot of insurance companies to want you to try these first. And then when the doctor turns that paperwork into insurance, they have to have it documented why either you tried it or it failed, or why it's not an option for you to try it. So that way they don't come back and be like, well, why don't you try this medication? Pain in the tuchus. But if you know it beforehand, it's not a surprise tuchus. Let's say that. That is it. To recap, infusions are for the people who don't want to have to go through as many shots and the people who have the schedule to be able to accommodate that. Self-injectables like the Humira is better for the people who need or want that Give it quick and go. And with that, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.